r/AskReddit. Older Redditors, what are some early warning signs of trouble that younger folks may not know about? Serious. If someone wants to break up with you, let them. Edit. Wow. I usually use my phone for edit and don't see when I have replies. First, thank you for the gold kind person. I'll have to see what it actually means. Also, let it be known, this wasn't something I've always lived by, but rather eventually became. I was the person that would want to hold on to the relationship, not because it was good for me or the other person, but because I was so afraid of being alone. I was the person who would bend and beg, I can change. We can work it out, ad nauseam. I was and still am, in some ways, codependent. For a long time, I had zero self-esteem and about the same level of confidence in myself, my abilities, and my worth. I was constantly measuring my worth by what I thought others saw in me. Then one day, everything changed. It wasn't a slow process or something that crept up, but an epiphany. Why am I trying to hold on to someone who doesn't want me? I'm looking for a lifeboat, but I kept grabbing anchors. I told her, I'm done, goodbye. She laughed, told me I would come crawling back, and to be fair, that is what I would have normally done. But a switch flipped and somehow, I went from needing someone to validate me to needing to be me. That was when I was in my 30s. I wish I would have learned to like myself sooner, but better late than never. The funny thing about that change in thought, it changed every aspect of my life. I'm so much happier in my 40s than I was in my 20s. I actually have someone in my life who adores me, and I adore her. She's good for me. So for anyone who may be in the same boat I was in, even though you might not be able to see the shore, it's there, it's within your reach. Eventually, you're going to find out, you're a lot more important than you think you are. The change may be slow, or it may be sudden, but be ready, because it's going to knock your socks off once you realize you deserve someone who wants you. Relationships. No matter how good looking / rich / successful someone is, if there is not a good fit between the two of you, it will not work out. It is better to go through hardships with your best friend than to live in a miserable relationship surrounded by nice things. There's usually a point in life where you look around and realize you have too much crap. Get rid of it and stop acquiring it. Possessing a lot of stuff weighs you and your pocketbook down incredibly. Having cleaned out the house of a hoarder, I have very little patience for stuff anymore. We personally removed 92,000 pounds of metal alone off a property. That weight, both mentally and physically, made me realize how awful the trap of owning too much stuff is. Friends, there are many people who you will meet in a lifetime. There may be those with whom you will remain friends for the majority of that time. There may be short, but really intense friendships that fizzle out, and there will be friendships that last a while, but taper off. All of these are okay. Not to be corny, but think of it like a subway ride. There are those who you get to meet, and they get off in a couple of stations. There are those who will ride most of the line with you, and there are those who are on the same final destination. You will change quite a bit in life, and so will your friends. It's okay for you to let them go, and for them to let you go. You may even become friends with people you only sort of knew at an earlier time. Also, when you get older, you tend not to care what people drive, what they wear, and how they look, but rather the kindness in their heart, and their sense of humor. Attitude. Be gracious. There are life mentors everywhere you look. You just need to look. Be willing to listen to someone no matter whether they are 5 or 105. Every single person on the planet knows something you don't. Listen. You don't have to agree, but you can learn a lot from everyone. Be nice / or at least try not to be purposefully mean. Behind the facade of so many people are struggles that are unsaid, whether with self, with job, with family, with weight, finances, businesses, etc. Being purposefully mean can not only wreck their day, but will eat at you once you realize the damage you have inflicted. Apologize. Apologize for past egregious acts. If you were a bully, make an effort to find the person you bullied and apologize honestly. Understand that the person you bullied has absolutely no obligation to forgive you. On the path to apologizing for past transgressions of any type, you must acknowledge that you were wrong and be absolutely sincere. If you have not matured enough to realize that there is a high probability of rejection of your apology, wait until you can do this from the heart, no matter the consequences. Fear. We spend a lot of time being afraid, more time than we do actually moving forward. Move past those regrets and do something about them. They still creep in, but acknowledge that they exist and try to get past them. Most things aren't as bad as you think. Some are worse, but most aren't. Bills, open them, pay them. Spend less than you make. Stop living above your means. Buy the generic TP, pasta, tomato sauce, spices, etc. No one will know the difference. Learn how to cook a handful of decent meals. Look, it's heat and basic chemistry. It will save you a lot of money to cook at home, and dinner parties are often so much more fun than dining out. Starting a business, no matter how much you make, if you spend more than you earn, you're going to have a bad time. No matter how much you hear, cash is king. Understand that that is absolutely wrong. Cash flow is king. Cash flow will be more important to the success or failure of a business than any other metric. Jobs, even if you hate a job, keep it for a year. During that year, ask why you hate the job and what you would actually want. Also, keep track of the things you do like and why. This will help you figure out eventually what works and doesn't work for you. Resumes, especially if you don't like your job, always keep your resume updated. Get a new title or position, update your resume as soon as possible. Just quit a job, update your resume pronto. In a similar vein, you are not the one who can fix their tortured soul. Whatever baggage they have, you can be supportive, and it may not be a reason not to date them. Everyone has their shit, after all, but your love isn't going to magically heal them. It has to be their shit to deal with, and if they start to depend on you as the antidote to their problems, or you get too deep into the mentality of whatever I have to do to make them happy is worth it, then you need to set boundaries and allow yourself to get less involved sometimes. Edit. Wow, this really blew up. Some people seem to be interpreting my comment as saying that you shouldn't date/be supportive towards people with mental illness, which is not what I was trying to say at all. So here's some clarification from a reply I wrote to address that idea. I agree wholeheartedly that people with mental illnesses can and benefit hugely from the support of others, and I'm in no way trying to say that depressed people are unworthy of love. I'm aware of the research that shows this, but I'm also aware that one of the key elements of cognitive behavioral therapy is that the patient needs to be willing to help themselves rather than passively expecting the therapist to fix them. What I was trying to say in my original comment was that you need to accept that these problems aren't going to be magically fixed by your company, that there's a chance that even with therapy they might never get better, and that if you're dating someone with a mental illness you are taking on both the good and the bad. In addition, there is only so much you can do for them, and it's important to take care of yourself and allow yourself to have boundaries about how much you are prepared to sacrifice for another person. This doesn't necessarily mean breaking up with the person, though if it comes to that, it's still better than trying to drag on a relationship where you're out of your depth, but can mean things like encouraging yourself to talk to a therapist rather than only talking through their problems with you, encouraging them to confide in friends as well as in you, making sure you get time away from them to spend by yourself or with your own friends, and so on. Otherwise, you will end up burning out and resenting the other person, which isn't healthy for either party. I'm a bit late, but this was a hard lesson I learned, and I see it come up a lot in /r/relationships. It's about being unhappy with people, and being unhappy with your life, and trusting your gut instinct and your feelings. Pay attention to those first niggling doubts before they become a tsunami of unhappiness and unhelpful behaviors. If you come away from time spent with someone feeling unhappy, or uncertain about yourself, or down, or angry in a way you can't put your finger on, that person is no good for you. It doesn't matter if that person is a parent or relative, a sibling or a friend, or even a coworker or a boss. People who are good for you leave you feeling good about yourself, positive and strong. Even when they have to tell you an unpleasant truth about yourself, they'll do it in a loving and constructive way which makes you feel that they are on your side, and they'll help you, and that you can fix this. I wasted far too much time with people who made me feel like shit because I was related to them, or they were friends with me. Shared interests or shared genes are not enough. There has to be a bond of genuine affection. Friendship is the only genuinely non-coercive relationship out there. It's wholly voluntary, so if someone is making you miserable they are not your friend. In the same way, family members do not get a free pass to treat you like shit because they are related to you. The bonds of affection that bind you are far stronger than any blood ties, and if those bonds of affection are weakened by cruel or thoughtless behavior, then they really aren't worth very much. I hold my family members up to the same standards that I hold my friends up to, and the same thing goes at work. Look, I know the economy is bad now, but I made myself ill for many years working with people who were thoughtlessly cruel to me because I needed the work. It wasn't the occasional office politics or even the office bitch. It was the fact that I felt disposable. And when push came to shove, yep, I got pushed. And I'd been miserable for years putting up with a job I didn't really like. I would have been much better off living off ramen noodles and retraining in a field I actually enjoyed. Or even going back to working in a second-hand bookshop, which I also enjoyed, than earning 5 times as much and feeling like shit the whole time and drinking too much and smoking too much pot in order to cope with the fact that I was miserable. Generally, being unhappy is a sign that something is wrong in your life. Don't ignore it or medicate it away. I have so many friends who are on antidepressants and they are depressed, yes, but they are working too hard in industries they don't like. They don't get enough time with their kids. They don't get enough time with their spouses and they don't get enough sleep. Of course they are depressed. Stop and think, why am I always grumbling to myself for hours after I've hung out with Sue and John? Why am I drinking a bottle of wine every night? Why do I need a spliff to get through my workday? Why does Jim always hit on girls I've said I like? Don't ignore your gut feelings of unhappiness. It's not a sign of weakness. The correct response is not to take a teacup of concrete and harden up, princess. The correct response is to work out who or what is wrong and then fix it, whether that means cutting someone out of your life, taking night classes, or a new hobby, retraining, or even moving. I tell you this cause I was sick and unhappy and surrounded by toxic people for 15 years. If only one of you reads this and goes, yep, my sister is a bitch, or fuck this weather I'm moving to Santa Fe, or fuck this job, I'm retraining as a vet nurse, or whatever, then I will have done something good today. I've seen a few in regards to jobs. I skimmed but didn't see this bit. Stay the hell out of any drama going on in the workplace, unless it's something you start. If you're starting it, be damn sure you're in the right and your boss is someone you can trust. Rarely this can bite you in the ass. I've had a handful of jobs I've been in. I've had just about 12 jobs in 13 years. Lots of part-time gigs and lots of full-time gigs that did last a while. I've had a handful of jobs go to shit because I was stupid and stuck my nose where it didn't need to be. I don't mean something that is whistleblower level kind of nose sticking. I mean in the inter-office/workplace squabbles. I had a temp job just drop me one day, out of the blue. The agency I was working for was absolutely dumbfounded as to why, due to the report they received which stated some very vague reasoning. I don't even remember what it is, but it wasn't performance or behavior related. That's how vague the report was. The only thing I could think of that could possibly get me the boot was when I was talking to this old lady next to me. Just snap first, but then she started laying on her disgruntlement on the job with the boss, yada yada. It wasn't until my last week where she goes, oh, I probably shouldn't have said all that. The last person I did that to got fired. Huh. I make it a rule to stay out of drama. If it's affecting the work itself, I work around it. If I'm in a position to snuff it out, I do so. I've had a handful of jobs where I was a supervisor, and only one job where I had an idiot who wouldn't stop starting shit. Figuratively nailed his ass to the wall about it. As a boss, I do not put up with that kind of shit. Drama will only get you into shit, especially if your bosses are involved. Take the popcorn and eat it. Watch, listen, but don't act within. I'm not really old, but I'm sad to say that when it comes to buying a house I've grown old out of a bad experience. So, I'll give you how to buy a house. Option 1. You're buying a new house with all the warranty that comes with it. Well, it's going to cost you, but it's great. Good choice. Make sure the company is a serious one, because if it goes belly up during your warranty period you might get fucked. There's not much else that can go wrong here. Spend the extra dollars of having a professional go through the house before the warranty expires just to be sure. No problem. Option 2. You're buying a really old house. It looks like shit, and you're getting it dirt cheap. Hey, you got a big job ahead, or money set aside, to pay someone to fix it up. Either way, that's not a problem, because you know this place is a shithole and that's what you're paying for. Option 3. You're buying a old house, but it's partly or completely renovated. Who cares if it's old, right? It looks so great, and even though you're paying a lot for that newly renovated standard, it's still a tad cheaper than a new place, right? Great deal, right? No, wrong. Now is the time to be fucking careful, my friend. Anyone can pick up dog shit, wrap it in foil, and put a nice little ribbon on it. Looks like fine Belgian chocolate now, does it not? Well, it's fucking dog shit. Anyone can paint old rotten wood, and it will look great for about 6 months. Then you can enjoy the sweet taste of dog shit as it seeps through the tin foil and between your stupid teeth. Anyone can put down some fine ass tiles on a rolled bathroom, but you won't know if it's really well done until a year later when the bedroom downstairs is either dry or wet as fuck with Winnie the Pooh and all kinds of shit living in a moldy forest between your floors. But Warcraft MD, are you saying I should just stick with option 1 or 2? That really limits available houses. Yeah, it does. But a moldy fuck forest behind your bedroom walls will really limit your lungs and your wallet if you ever wish to try and wrestle the godforsaken piece of shit house, that is. So if you have to go with option 3, here's what you do. You can't see the important parts of the house, so be really uptight about the parts you can see. Is there a piece of missing paint at the bottom of the wall by the corner? Who cares, right? You can pick up a paintbrush and fix that shit up in no time. Probably just some old damage from a kid or a dog or something, right? Does not matter, right? Fucking wrong. It means the people who live here do not care about details. If they could not pick up a paintbrush before selling their newly renovated house, they sure as hell did not do a proper job on all the other shit they did either. Is one fucking tile slightly misaligned? Don't buy that fucking house, or that tile will forever stare you down while you're sitting on your throne trying to force out a shit into your shitty house with shitty pipes, knowing that you will forever be in a shitty place economically because of the shitty decision you made when you bought a shitty ass house with a shitty ass tile that tried to warn you about how shitty your life could become. TL. Doctor, read it, or enjoy a shitty legal battle that never ends. If the person you're interested in wants to spend every second with you, ditches out on important things like job interviews and such, doesn't have their own friends, or at least hobbies outside of spending every waking minute with you, presses your boundaries, makes your friends uncomfortable, etc., his is a warning sign. If your friends warn you about them, or are concerned for you, listen to them. Your hormones cloud your judgment. Your friends see warning signs that you don't. If you find yourself making excuses for their behavior constantly, this is a warning sign. If they are extremely manipulative and disrespectful to their friends or parents, or ask you to lie for them, or cover for them, this is a warning. If they react violently over small things, warning sign. If they've ever hurt an animal and laughed about it, warning. If you have gut feelings about something, listen to yourself. Don't explain things away. Don't let them explain away your feelings 9 to 10 times. Your gut was right. Equally, if you've already broken up, don't listen to the "your life changed, I'm not that way anymore, I'll do anything for you," etc. In these situations, I like to remind myself that, by sticking to the breakup, I have both stood up for myself and kept my personal integrity intact, and taught them a valuable lesson to apply to their own lives, which causes a ripple effect. You've shown them that people just won't put up with zikes. This will hopefully help them treat the next person with more respect in those aspects, or if it's something benign, that at least next time they need to find someone that isn't bothered by said behavior, and frees you to find someone with the qualities you need from a relationship. Don't waste your time trying to make something uncomfortable to you work. It hurts everyone in the end. It keeps everyone from reaching their full potential. Perhaps think of it like a pair of shoes. They look neat, but if they are too small, cause cramps in your feet and bleeding blisters, are you going to keep wearing them every day? Even after your feet have grown 2 more sizes? Are you going to make excuses, try cutting them up to fit you? Put pads in them, only to find that day after day they hurt more and more, deform your feet, cause you to be distracted in everything you do, keep you from even wanting to go outside, hang with friends, participate in your favorite hobbies, just because they don't fit. Eventually finding yourself making excuses to not do anything, just to be able to sit and wear them. See how silly that sounds? Trust me, it sounds equally silly when you're doing this for a partner. Someday you'll find you've made excuses for so long, cut yourself off for so long, you don't even know who you are anymore. Even when you finally leave, try to find yourself. You'll be scarred from these experiences, taking years to find yourself again, especially if you jump straight into another relationship, which brings me to my next advice. Don't go straight from one to the next. Even if there's still interest between you, just hang out, get to know each other, express your interest, but don't jump right in. Let yourself get to know each other as people, and get to know yourself. Communicate constantly to this person. It's awkward at first, so try it on your friends. Talk about feelings, boundaries, goals, hobbies, interests. You also want to make sure you're both practicing active listening, hearing each other's whole thoughts before formulating answers, instead of thinking of a response while the other person is still talking. These are things I've learned this far that have helped me finally find a deeply loving, respectful, and passionate relationship. 6 years, not one heated argument yet. Good luck. 3. Oh lord. Okay, a guy saying all his ex-girlfriends were crazy is a tough one, but so is the I've only dated really great people ever guy, because we've all dated a nut or a shitty person at some point. Don't trust the extremists, they're liars. When your car's tire pressure light comes on, get that shit checked as soon as possible. Slow the fuck down too, take side roads to a place to get it checked. Every single time my tires blown almost immediately after it came on, seriously within about 20 minutes. Most recent I posted about a couple days ago, but I was on a super dangerous highway road. That light coming on and me paying attention and knowing to slow down probably saved my life, because sure as shit the tire blew right there on that insane highway. Be safe, not stupid. Same with your oil light and check engine light. Your car's telling you something is wrong. And cars are perfectly capable of failing miserably, and people can die when that happens. Don't be that person. Even if death doesn't happen, repairs that are ungodly expensive to fix can. So pay attention to that shit. Same kind of thing, pay attention to your emotions. If you really love someone, tell them. If you really can't stand someone, get rid of them. Fuck being nice to everyone. Sometimes it's better to burn a bridge and get on with life. You do not have to be nice. It's not a requirement. And you're a lot nicer to everyone in your life who deserves being nice to when you drop the shit ones and aren't trying to please them. Some people suck, that's life. And life sucks when you're living it inauthentically, so tell the people you love how much you do before they're off marrying some psychotic gold digger midget they've known for 3 months. Not that I'm bitter. Bills. Pay them, they pile up. Don't live beyond your means. Don't trust people who haven't been broke at some point in their life. Nobody's too good to eat ramen soup or to have bust tables. If they act like they are, don't trust them. Don't work in an environment you're not able to speak up in. I've gotten fired for that before, and it was the best thing that could have happened. When you know in your gut something's not okay, and you speak up, and that gets you fired. That's not a bad thing. I promise. Don't ignore your health. A persistent cough, persistent headaches, persistent fatigue, stuff that's not just the usual virus your body's processing, and over with quickly. Get to a doctor for it. When you have outrageous menstrual cramps that have you on the floor vomiting and crying and passing out, that shit's not normal. Fuck anyone who says otherwise. It's not, and don't ignore it. Same with emotional well-being. Crying a lot, finding it hard to get out of bed frequently, spending lots of money, and feeling like anything is possible, and being generally up. That shit's just not normal, and deep down you know it. Get help. When it's a beautiful day at the beach and nobody at all is in the water, there's usually a reason. Rip currents, sharks, whatever it is, pay attention. Ain't nobody got time to go saving your ass. This goes for all things nature. You can't see a road because water's covering it. Don't drive across it, etc. When someone's talking shit to you about a third person who isn't present for the conversation, wonder, hell, I ask them what they're saying about you behind your back. When someone's talking shit about a third person and they're right there being verbally abused, shut that shit down immediately and put the first person in their place. When someone flips shit over little things, like non-consequential things and a way out of proportion blow up, avoid them. They have anger issues. Don't ignore the say something advice. And pay attention. Your roommate / family members going off the rails in some direction? Get help. A lot of shit that's been going on lately. Mass shootings, in particular, Boston bombing, etc. could have been prevented, or at the very least not so bad, if something was said ahead of time. Do not feel bad for getting the police to do their jobs for once and having them check something kind of sketchy out. Better to be safe than sorry, so yeah, call them, go in for a visit, whatever. Report shit. You think your neighbors potentially got a meth lab? Go in and report it. Tweakers are paranoid. They have cop radios. Just say something. You're driving home late from work and see a car driving all crazy? Report it. You're a bartender and someone's leaving your bar fucking shit-faced? Report them. It saves lives. Can't walk in your heels? Stumble off your stool. You can't drive. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe the channel.